What up, guys? So I've made this video a couple times now, but I'm not really sure how I want to approach it. Somebody asked me if I'd make a video on the benefits of fasting, and I have so much to say on this subject. I could talk for hours because I've seen benefits, but I've also seen so many issues and so many people just completely deplete themselves and become imbalanced and just create, a poor relationship to food and just poor eating habits. And I've just seen so much chaos come out of fasting that I'm like, I think I need to also share some of the major issues that I know of and I've experienced as well. So there are definite benefits, and I guess I'll just give you a brief history of my experience with fasting. I began in 2013 with short water fasts and then juice fasting, and I think by 2016 I'd worked my way up to a 3-week orange juice fast. And then by 2017 I decided to embark on what turned out to be a 3.5-month coconut water fast. While I was in the tropics, I was in Costa Rica, and I had access to just fresh wild coconuts. And it's funny, I didn't even know at the time, but just those coconuts were pretty nourishing, and honestly it felt so good not having any fiber in my body but still having some form of nourishment. And so that's what I was just honestly really drawn to more than any other food. And it's funny because it's now I've also realized how good it feels to practice a diet that doesn't have, well, at least very, very low amounts of fiber. Basically a zero fiber diet. I'm trying to go down this hill right now. It's a little steep. I probably can't tell as much, so pardon me if I slip. But anywho, guys, so some of the benefits of fasting have been less inflammation. Whenever I have an injury or joint pain or back pain, fasting seems to really help with mitigating the pain and the inflammation. Fasting has also been beneficial for improving my digestion, just how my guts feel in general. When I first began fasting, I was eliminating so much shit out of my digestive tract that it was just crazy, probably 10 to 15 pounds of just impacted fecal matter. And I was on a SAD diet previous to when I began fasting, and so I just had so much impacted waste and dried fecal matter getting eliminated. So that felt really good. I mean, that in itself really benefited my energy levels. So I would say the top benefits I experienced while fasting were less joint pain, less back pain, improved digestion, improved energy levels, and better skin. While I was doing one of my first fasts, my external yeast infection really cleared up, and so it really helped my skin as well. But guys, I've also experienced a lot of downsides to fasting, and when I go into a fast and I'm just forcing it and just trying to use the mental willpower to just grind through a fast, it usually doesn't turn out very good once I start eating again, because I just start caving, and just as soon as that piece of food touched my mouth, I couldn't control myself. So this is something I see just is a super common issue among people that practice regular fasting, and that's uncontrollable binge eating after the fast. I was around a lot of people that had practiced the master fast system, where they do the cooked grape juice and lemon, and I think that shit is absurd. I just saw so many people create so many mental and emotional issues and imbalances after the master fast, where they're just had developed such a poor relationship to food, with just uncontrollable binge eating. I got to stay with people who just had major issues with this, and I had issues with this, and it's just thinking back now, it's how goofy is it to go into a fast when my body is already giving me signals that I'm starving. It's like, yeah, you're gonna have benefits. Like I had benefits such as reducing the amount of inflammation, but I'm also further depleting my body and further creating imbalances. So of course they're going to manifest or be experienced in like emotional instability, just like fucking, I mean, creating like mental illness in myself. And you know, some people take it, you know, too far. Let's just use the example of Tim Sheaf. I definitely feel that he took his water fast a little too far. He was already probably, you know, somewhat depleted and having issues in the first place, and just perpetuated those issues. And so, guys, fasting is not just, it's not just so simple, and it's not just all cheery and roses. Like, people get really fucked up from fasting, especially when they're malnourished and depleted going into it. So just to kind of summarize, like, I definitely feel fasting is beneficial if somebody has the reserves, if they're on a nutrient dense diet, if they're, you know, if they have an adequate amount of caloric intake, and so they're metabolically healthy. I think going into the fast is gonna have extreme benefit, because their body's going to have the energy, you know, to engage in autophagy and all of the other benefits that we hear about with fasting. But I think fasting can be really dangerous when we're going in and we're, you know, visibly like our legs are like pine needles, and we're like, you know, we look like Holocaust camp prisoners, and we're like completely depleted, and we're not metabolically healthy. Our metabolism is way slowed down from, you know, always consistently being in a caloric deficit. I think this can just extremely further damage our metabolism, to where when we begin eating again, we get super puffy and like we can't handle very much food, and then we're like in this starved state where we're just like binge eating and just like full of edema, and just our digestion isn't strong. So the only time I would fast now is if I was in a caloric going into it. Yeah, so I see so many people on these, you know, detox baths, or like practicing these detox diets with like fruit and herbs and fasting, including myself, who go into fasts and fast when they're already depleted, and just and they aren't doing themselves a benefit, in my opinion. I think if somebody was very underweight and they were experiencing a lot of issues, you know, like health issues, digestive issues, yeah, maybe a 1 or 2 day fast, just like a really short reset. But I would say focus on nourishing the body and building up the reserves, and then saving the fast for the future, if possible. I know, you know, different people have different circumstances and different issues, but it only makes sense that, like, yeah, fasting is probably going to be safer for somebody that's like extremely obese versus somebody that's you know, like super skinny. I also think it's really important to have an intention with fasting. Like, why are we fasting? What are we doing it for? And being able to be as objective as possible, not just like, oh, this person on YouTube did a 30-day fast, I'm going to do a 30-day water fast because I just want to cleanse my body. Cleansing, right? Yeah, I'm cleansing. And I think this is super dangerous, can be super toxic, especially like post-fast, when people are reintroducing foods and they're just caught up in this mindset of like, oh my God, is this food toxic? Is this gonna hurt my body? And I just want to reiterate this, guys. Like, I see people time and time again creating super poor relationships with food, and, you know, they start binge eating, and then they're like, well, I have to fast now. And then they come out of the fast and they're malnourished and they're starving, and then they binge again, and then they fast and binge and fast and binge. And I've been caught up in this cycle, you know, for long periods of time. Thankfully, I'm out of it now. But I think this is like a huge issue among people, especially people that follow Dr. Morris, especially. And the master fast system, I mean, I'm sure people can experience some benefits I'm not denying that, but at the same time, I think that there are just major issues that are not being talked about or not being addressed. So I think most people are going to benefit more if they just focus on their lifestyle versus these short, quick fixes like fasting, for example. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with fasting, but I think so many of us get caught up in fasting as being like this like cure-all, that it's like, as long as if we just did this 30-day water fast, all of our problems are gonna go away. But you know, for a lot of people, they seem to just make the issues worse. So I think more so it's about fine-tuning our lifestyle, especially our diet, you know, focusing on bringing certain foods in, dropping other foods. And so this is just my little take on fasting, guys. Like, I've been around a lot of people who fast. I've done quite a bit of fasting myself, and it's not just so black and white. It's not all good. There are a lot of issues come with it. So, you know, if you're interested in doing an extended water fast, I would probably recommend seeking some sort of professional help, such as like, what is it, True North Healing Center or Fasting Center. Okay, and there was another point I wanted to make, and that was intermittent fasting. On a plant-based diet, I used to force myself to intermittent fast when I was not feeling good. I didn't have the energy levels for it. I was constantly thinking about food. I was basically in a malnourished, starved state, wanting to intermittent fast because I thought it was good for me. And this is just another one of those instances where I was not doing myself justice or not benefiting myself. And so the approach I like to take now that I'm on a more carnivorous approach is that I will pretty much eat as much as I want at a sitting till I'm satiated, till I don't want to eat anymore, but I won't eat again until I'm hungry. And that usually means that I'll eat about 2 meals a day. And guess what? I've basically fallen into the same pattern as I used to as like on a plant-based diet, but now it's just like the inner experience is completely different. I feel energized. I don't like keep pushing myself when I'm feeling hungry. Like, as soon as I feel hungry, I eat. And you know, it differs day by day, and it doesn't always look the same. But I mean, in a sense, I do still kind of intermittent fast, even though I don't really think about it anymore. At least not in that way. It's not in like this mentally ill way. And so I think this probably falls more in line with how intermittent fasting is kind of meant to be done or beneficial. And so that was just like the last topic I wanted to hit on, is that, you know, if you're hungry, dude, eat. It's your body giving you a signal that it needs something, like it's, you know, it wants nutrients. Well, hopefully you enjoyed my little rant on fasting and intermittent fasting. Like I said, there's a time and place for fasting. I think it has benefits, but I also believe that it can totally be harmful depending on the condition of our bodies. Fasting is definitely a tool, and like with all tools, if we don't use them appropriately, then we can hurt ourselves with it. So I'm gonna head out of the woods and head over to my wife's parents' house to walk their dogs a little bit so they don't go to the bathroom inside the house. Thank you guys for tuning in. You know, put your comments down below, or you can send an email to dougoforgan@gmail.com, and give this video a thumbs up, subscribe for more content, and stay tuned till next time, guys. Take care.